On Backcountry Stories, Moving a Fire Tower with Jerry Ryan of Little Falls, Minnesota. Welcome to the Forestry Education Center here at the Beltrami Fairgrounds. I'm sitting at the table in front of the fire tower display with Jerry Ryan, who's from Little Falls, Minnesota. And Jerry did something that's extremely unusual, at least in my opinion. He moved a fire tower to his backyard, or?
Yes, to my backyard.
And the first question someone's going to ask you, why did you want a fire tower in your backyard?
Well, I wanted to preserve the fire tower. Otherwise, it was headed to the scrapyard.
Well, that's probably the same reason we put the fire tower here at the fairgrounds here.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find this fire tower?
Through the internet. It was on, what do they call it? Not
eBay
Google.
or Amazon, eBay?
I think it was eBay. eBay, yes.
And who was the owner? And
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay, but you bought it from somebody who had originally got it from Itasca Park or something?
Itasca State Park, yes.
How long is it? This was it standing when you got it, or laying on the ground?
It was laying on the ground and in pieces,
Orderly or scattered?
scattered.
How do you know you had all the pieces?
I didn't. I didn't know I had all the pieces till I got it home.
You started working on it or laying it out.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
this fire tower you have put up, except for the cab, is one that was used in Itasca Park.
Yes.
Do you happen to know that the guy who sold it to you and tell you where he had bought it? He must have bought it from the DNR.
He bought it from the DNR from Itasca State Park for $101.
Okay, but steel's worth more than that.
Yes.
Obviously, he let it lay for a certain amount of years because he couldn't put it up or something.
Right, he didn't have a place to put it, so that's why he sold it.
Why did he buy it though? Who knows, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so do you know how long it had been laying on the ground there at Itasca Park?
Probably 3 years, I'm thinking.
Okay,
It was laying in his backyard.
okay, now it's laying, oh, was it his backyard then?
Yeah.
Oh, you
yes.
didn't have to come to Itasca to get it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you went to his, and how far is he from Little Falls?
He's about 14 miles from Itasca State Park.
Oh, okay, so you had to come
Yeah.
back up here. Now,
Yes.
did you have a truck that would handle this, or did you have to go rent one, or how'd you do?
I had my own truck, an old Chevrolet grain truck, and I drove that up about 80 miles from my house and picked it up and went back the same day. Loaded it up and brought it back home the same day.
Okay, you got it all on one truckload.
Yes, all in one truckload.
All right, now you've got this pile of steel in the yard that you're going to start to erect. Now, what time of the year was this when you picked up the fire tower?
It was in the fall.
Okay, so then it laid there all winter.
Yep, it laid there all winter while I bent all the rebar during the winter in my hot water boiler. That's how I bent the rebar.
And wait a minute, what's a hot water? A hot water boiler to me is something you take a shower from. And
Well, a
what did
hot
you-
water boiler is what you heat your floor with wood.
Oh, okay.
The wood heats the water,
Yeah.
and then the water is recirculated through your floor.
Now, wait a minute, where did the rebar go? In the furnace itself, or in the hot water, or where?
It went in the furnace itself with the hot coals.
Oh, so you really had like a blast furnace in a
Yes.
way, made of
So I
wood.
get the tips all red hot.
And you had special, like, blacksmith tools to bend this stuff, or?
I made my own tools to bend the rebar.
Jesus, what a project. And then just the footings alone, looking at some of the pictures we'll be talking about here, it looked like it was as big a project as putting the steel up itself, probably more so. It had to be more accurate.
It was, it didn't seem that hard to me because I am a welder, so.
Oh, okay, so you
I
worked,
bent all the rebar and welded it together.
you worked with steel, so you understand that. Okay. Now you've started to do the footing, I suppose, in the spring or midsummer, or when?
Yep, in the spring, we started digging and
Huh?
poured the footings.
How long did it take you to do the footings?
Oh, I'd say about 4 weeks. The footings and the column that goes inside the footings.
Right, and pour the concrete and the backfill and so
Right,
forth.
and backfill it.
On the two bolts that come up on each column, Did you have much latitude and slop where it had to be, or did you with that frame around the whole fire tower bolts? That's what gave you the guide to get the bolts and the
Right.
column in the right spot. How,
I had 2x6s laid out in a square with holes drilled in them that were exact to what I needed
Now
the
you-
anchor bolts to be.
you got that measurement from the footing in the ground from Itasca, or
I got that, yes, I got that from the footings that are still in the ground in Itasca State Park.
okay? Where are these footings? I have no idea.
They're real close to the ranger station.
Oh, that's the original one by these old brown
Yes.
buildings?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a picture of that. I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
That was the original offices before they built the Jacob Bauer Visitor Center,
Yeah,
Office Center.
Right.
Okay, now I know what you mean. Oh, okay, well, wow, what a project.
yeah.
Now you got the footings down and everything is lined up. Now you're starting to stand the steel up. When you first put up the first leg of steel, what'd you use to hold it up?
My neighbor held it up while I bolted it.
Okay.
And we went all the way around each corner, and he held each one, and I put the bolts on.
And then the cross wires came next?
Yes,
So now you have a nice rigid four-cornered,
right.
Fire
We have
tower.
an X-frame, it's all
Okay.
X'd around there, so it's real sturdy, and you can climb up to the next level.
how wide was it at the bottom at the bolts? You
I'd
remember
say
offhand?
23 feet from each bolt to each bolt.
And this is a 100-foot tower?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're on your way. What a project. Now, obviously, once you get the first piece of steel up, you have to go up. So how did you get the steel up the next section? What, gin pole, crane, or what'd you do?
I fabricated my own crane with an electric winch, a 12-volt winch, and
Small 12-volt winch?
yes, a small 12-volt winch that you use on an ATV.
That was enough power.
That was enough power to lift that steel.
Wow, okay. Now, you must have like a gin pole on there, and then the winch hooks to that and brings up the piece, or how'd you get those pieces lined up to the next section? Just by that winch?
Well, what you do is you line up one hole on one end of the angle iron,
Yeah.
and then you clamp another piece of angle iron on that piece that you're raising up, and then I used a come-along to raise that piece up. And then I get the other bolt in.
Jeez.
It was pretty safe.
Now, you're tied onto the tower someplace with a tether or safety harness and so forth.
I wear the safety harness all the time.
Did you ever you had to grab in a hurry because you started to slip on something, or
Never happened.
never happened?
No.
So now you're working your way up. How long did it take to go putting the first piece of steel on to get up towards the 100-foot mark or the tip?
I'd say about 4 months. Because after 40 feet, none of my friends and neighbors would climb higher than 40 feet, so I was by myself.
But they were on the ground working the controls.
I always had a neighbor on the ground in case something happened, just for safety.
Wow. Were there any days you couldn't work on the tower because it was too windy or rainy or
A
lightning?
number of days where it was raining. Anytime it rained, I never worked on it.
Yeah, lightning can come from 15 miles away, and
Or lightning. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never
it's
worked on it
like-
in lightning either.
what a project.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, not many people go out and get a fire tower and erect it in their backyard. It's somewhat rare. We did a video with Todd and Roy that put up a fire tower that came from the Itasca Park area, which is another video that's on YouTube. Now you're getting near the top. We noticed in the pictures that it comes to an apex or a peak. And why is that? Why does it come to the peak?
Because they have a one plate on the very top that ties all 4 of those legs in together.
Okay.
It's a flat plate, and that's where they mount the Alidade or
Firefighter.
fire finder.
So now, once you put the cab on top, and we'll show a picture of that,
Mm-hmm.
you got the 6-sided cab that sits on top of that,
Yep.
and then the peak comes up through the floor, and that's a place then to put a platform to mount the firefinder. Do you have a firefinder yet?
No, I don't. I'm looking for one.
Looking for one, okay, maybe we can help you out somehow here. So today, what is it, July 27th? No, 8, 16th, 17th, whatever, July 16th, let's say. You're done with the fire tower, the cab is on, it's ready to go, a straight ladder, And are you going to invite your neighbors up there?
I already have,
You already have.
yes.
So the next project to finish this off is to put the firefinder in. Now, do you have glass in the windows yet?
That's another project I'm working on this summer, is putting all the glass in all the windows
Okay.
to keep the birds from living up there.
Yes. You're not going to use plastic, you're going to use glass then.
Yes, I'm gonna use glass.
Yeah, keep it clean, easy. You gonna have room for a flagpole on the side?
Yes, I will have a flag up there.
How about a ham radio antenna? You're not a ham, but who knows?
I do have the original antenna that was on top of the fire tower. I'll probably put that antenna back up there.
Then it's a piece of history then.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be plugged in as long as it's there.
Right, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I also have the original aeronometer that the Rangers used.
Yeah.
And that's up there already too.
And it's spinning or?
Yes, it works great. A lot of brass parts in that.
But that just does direction only, doesn't it? Doesn't do the speed?
No, it does wind speed.
Oh, it
That's what
does?
an aeronometer is.
Oh, yeah, you
That's
said the
wind
aeronometer.
speed,
Yeah. Well, I've seen the what do you call the part that turns into the wind? Rooster's neck or something.
Yeah, it's just an arrow that points
It points
towards
at the wind. I've seen
wherever
those.
the wind is coming.
A lot, but I have never seen the actual speed readout.
Yeah.
I missed something. Well, Jerry, this is one heck of a project to have a fire tower moved. Of course, one of the things that made it easy, you didn't have one like here at the Beltrami County Fairgrounds where you got steel this big and you got smaller steel to work with.
Right, it was only 4-inch
Yeah.
angle iron.
And of course, here we got the staircase, which is
Right.
a lot of work and it was very heavy.
Yes.
So what you did was, of all the towers, probably one of the easier ones to, still a lot of work, but an easier one. We couldn't have done that with the fire tower here at the fairgrounds. We had to have a crane lift in the steps and sections,
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah, mine was pretty easy to put together. You know, I used to put erector sets together when I was a kid, and that's basically what it was.
Well, do you have any trees around your area there?
It's all trees where I live.
Well, then maybe you can say to the DNR, if you get a bad fire season in the spring, I'll go up in the fire tower and look around for you.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Because, you can make a fire finder, as long as you have the compass rose on there, and you can aim the alidade is the part that turns, the whole thing is the fire finder. You aim the alidade at the smoke, get this compass bearing and call it into the office, and you can estimate the distance.
Right.
Because the guys that ran these crossing maps and fire and so forth, were pretty good at getting the distance. We'll look at a couple of firefighters and a crossing map,
Okay.
so we'll see what happens. Jerry, you got to see this. We're going to go outside and get a picture of the car Jerry drove up from Little Falls to Bemidji, Minnesota. Tell me about the car. What is the Chevy Ford Model T, A, B?
It's a 1929 Model A Ford Coupe.
A Model A Ford Coupe
Yep.
with what? You don't have the original engine, do you?
No, it doesn't have a 4-cylinder in there. I put a V8 small block in it, Chevy.
Well, and the air conditioning is open the windshield?
Yep, that's it. And it worked great.
Well, I guess it would. Well, obviously you're very mechanically inclined. You mentioned before you were in the Army for how many years?
32.
32. And your last tour was where?
In 1995, and my last tour was during Desert Storm.
Oh, you had to be over there in that,
Yeah.
in that heat and so forth?
Yep.
What was your job?
I was a generator mechanic.
Okay. You're talking about big generators in these
Yep,
trucks.
big
and stuff.
generators that power the whole camp or power a whole city.
Diesel, propane, what did it run on?
Diesel.
Diesel.
Yep.
How many kilowatts is something that big?
Most of them are 100 kilowatt.
Oh, they were? Oh, geez, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, that's a big system. And then your last tour of duty was where?
My last tour was fighting the flood on the Red River in '97.
I was doing the same thing.
And we went from Wapaton all the way up the Canadian border.
With what kind of equipment?
I was driving a heavy duty or all-terrain forklift
Okay.
that would go in 8 feet of water.
Oh, wow.
And I would deliver sandbags to anybody that needed them.
Well, I was there because my mother had a house in Grand Forks on the south end. So I
Okay.
drove over from Bemidji. Now, I got back to Bemidji in '95 when
Mm-hmm.
I retired. And 2 years later, we had the flood. So it was a good thing I was home.
Yes, it was.
Maybe we crossed paths but didn't know it.
Right, yeah. I was in uniform at that time.
Well, well, it's so the National Guard too, so
Yeah,
same uniform, so everyone looked the same, you might say,
okay.
so to speak. Jerry, thank you for coming all the way up here to Bemidji to tell your story. Very unique story. We're going to go out and look at your car and a few other things, and let's talk about your car, because I got a few questions to ask. I've never seen a car like, I didn't know they made a Model T
Well,
coupe.
maybe you'd like to have a ride in it.
I'm too old. No, I'm just
Nobody's
kidding.
too old.
We'll cross that bridge when we get outside.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the car is kind of old, because I can see the rust and so forth. This is the 1929
Model A
Model A Ford with a bumper seat or jump seat or,
with just a trunk in it. It doesn't have the rumble seat.
okay. Where'd you find this?
Up near Monoman, Minnesota.
And you put seats in it, new steering wheel, clutch, and,
And a different frame on the whole underneath it.
okay, we'll go look at the engine in a second here.
Okay.
Is that your air conditioning, having the
Yeah,
window
this is my air conditioning. I fold out the window.
open?
And it keeps the inside real cool, even if it's 90 degrees outside.
It does, just the air. Okay, I'm not into antique cars. What am I looking at here, engine-wise?
You're looking at a 327 1965 Chevrolet engine. And the front end is a 1972 Nova with a Nova radiator. And that's why it steers so good going down the road, because of the front end. And the engine is hooked up to a 3-speed manual transmission into a positive traction rear end.
Am I looking at an Uga horn here?
You sure are.
Wow, haven't heard that in a long time. Well, the inside looks like it's brand new.
Yeah, I put a new floor in it. Aluminum tread plate, they call that.
Right? And your shift handle is a piston or something?
The shift handle is a piston out of my old Harley Davidson.
Never quite seen that before. I know a few car buffs that'd like to be able to see this. Well, your spare tire and all the tools you need for the what? That's the gas tank?
Yes, that's a 15.5 gallon keg of beer. Only I have gasoline in it.
I thought it looked like a keg of beer. I mean, a beer keg or whatever you call it.
And I got my battery, something to put the fire out, and a few tools.
Ever have a fire back here?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Jeez.
My license plate is an original 1929 license plate from Minnesota.
Where the heck did you find that?
I found that at a swap meet, and it's legal to run that plate. Okay, this stick also acts as a fuel gauge.
Say that again?
To check my fuel, I open the tank, and there's how much gas I have.
There's no gauge inside there.
There's no gauge inside.
Well, they're made pretty sturdy. These beer barrels. What do you call them again?
Yeah, kegs.
Beer kegs. They made it
Yeah,
pretty sturdy. Probably makes a great gas tank. Now that we got this newfangled car here, what kind of mileage do you get on this car?
I get 32 miles to the gallon.
Cruising at what speed?
That's going 60.
32 miles to the gallon.
32 miles to the gallon. Yep.
Because it's so light, is that why?
Yeah, there's hardly any weight here. It weighs 1,400 pounds.
We went from moving a fire tower to Jerry's private yard to this car. I didn't expect to see that coming around the corner. When he says Model A Ford, I thought it was a car fixed up to look like a Model A. I didn't know it was going to be a Model A with a souped up engine.
And it has the original green paint on it with Henry Ford pinstripes.
So that means you're not going to paint this over.
I'm not, no.
You can leave it that way.
I am.
There's no problem with this for inspection and so forth. It gets through the. Well, there's no inspection in Minnesota.
There is no inspection, but it's perfectly legal.
Well, it certainly is.
And
Oh,
safe. It's very safe too.
oh, you got a new aluminum roof on here?
Right.
Roll bar?
No roll bar.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw a roll bar inside. Okay. Well, I'll stick to working on fire towers. I'm lost when it comes to here. These are all the donors, people who help.
I see David Quam from Bemidji.
Number 3, doesn't number 1 surely, but all the funds to move this tower here were raised privately. Nothing came from the county or the fair or anybody else. No grants.
The same with my tower.
All individual funds.
Yeah.